Recently, Trump made a comment which didn't strike any of us who have been watching the race as particularly controversial. I mean, we all saw all the TikTok videos among Black Americans after he had the mugshot and put it out on an actual mug, and how so many Black Americans were celebrating the moment and celebrating Trump's toughness and his big middle finger to the system and saying, I'm going to fight all of this. Okay, Trump makes a comment on it, and they lost their mind. I'm going to walk you through the sequence because it's absolutely beautiful. You're going to love it. All right, so here's the Trump comment that it was just like a week or two ago that they reacted to.
I got indicted for nothing, for something that is nothing. They were doing February. It because it's election interference. And then I got indicted a second time and a third time and a fourth time. And a lot of people said that that's why the Black people like me, because they have been hurt so badly and discriminated against. And they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. It's been pretty amazing. But the Black people are so much on my side now because they see what's happening to me happens to them. Does that make sense? The mugshot, we've all seen the mugshot. And you know who embraced it more than anybody else? The Black population. It's incredible. You see Black people walking around with my mugshot. You know, they do shirts and they sell them for $19 a piece. It's pretty amazing.
Okay, so that's February 23rd of this year. Here's a little sampling as to how the media reacted. I could have done 20 more shots, but here we've kept it short.
I couldn't be more, and I'm going to take the privilege of speaking for all Black people. I couldn't be more offended by that statement. Him saying Black the way that he did, it just felt mocking in some sense.
Let's be clear. Donald Trump is using the stereotype of Blacks being criminals. He's in a mugshot for trying to interfere with an election. Blacks were arrested to get the right to vote.
America, please share it with your Trump-loving friends. Have them understand why what we just heard is so unbelievably racist, but also problematic for a democracy. That man should never be president of the United States.
Only reason we have a mugshot is because of the Black DA in Fulton County and the Black sheriff that made sure he got one to ensure that he knew that he was not above the law. So it is disgusting. It is offensive.
Okay. I love the one woman. I'm just going to speak for all Black people. I was appointed head Black. Here's how we all feel. He's a racist, okay? Those are racist comments. Kim Godwin, the recently ousted president of ABC News, who is Black, she felt the need to weigh in, which is extraordinary to have the president of a network, Dan, weigh in on something like this, and said, those comments, quote, are as racist as they come. And went on to say, no matter what your politics, the fact that a person running for president made these remarks, period, but also to a public crowd, and with so many Black people present, and that they stand with him is mind-blowing, shocking. Okay, so what did he say? He said, Black people like me because they've been hurt so badly and discriminated against, and they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against. They're so much on my side now because they see what's happening to me happens to them. Does that make sense? Flash forward to this week. MSNBC, which was responsible for many of those shots we just played in horror, did a focus group with some voters. I think was it in Georgia? Some Trump voters in Georgia, two of whom in this clip for the listening audience are Black. And listen to what happened.
Do each of you support Donald Trump?
I do.
Yes. Yes for all three of you? Yes. Has this trial changed your opinion, even caused you to waver or question that at all?
No, it's actually caused me to support him more. I just don't believe there's a coincidence that we have a trial happening in Atlanta. We have one happening in New York. So the question people are beginning to ask themselves, like I did, is like, why now?
I've talked to many people who formerly identified as a Democrat. They have changed their political persuasion to independent, and they are looking forward to voting for Trump. Wow. Because now they find something in common with a political candidate at that level.
When you say they find commonality, what is that commonality?
They have felt persecuted by the system of American injustice. And it's not a stretch for them to think that Trump may be a victim as well.
Dan.
Yeah.
Where does Trump go for his apology?
Yeah, well, listen, I'll just say to these leftists, like, honestly, man, nobody gives a shit anymore. They really don't. You've thrown this term around, so we just don't. Listen, Republicans call real racism out when they see it. We're not waiting for you to do it. We don't. Matter of fact, when you do it, we ignore it because you call everyone a racist. So we just assume you're lying. We actually call real racist bullshit out. You jokers on the left, nobody cares anymore. Everybody's a racist to you. It's phony. It's fake. You don't care about it. Nobody's listening to you. 30 years ago in radio or TV, you being tarred by a major cable outlet as a racist was a death sentence for your career. Nobody's even listening anymore. So much so, I know this story because I covered it, and I covered that panel on MSNBC, but it had absolutely zero traction because everyone just assumed, oh, it's MSNBC saying someone's a racist again. It's like right over everyone's head.
It's a day ending in Y.
What's that?
It's a day ending in Y.
Yeah, it's a day ending in Y. Exactly. It's just typical leftist nonsense. And I'll say, secondly, another point of irony, that the weapon they want to use the most, they've so diluted its potency that it has no effect. The second point I'd like to introduce on this one is that, the left with the racist cudgel has told Black and Hispanic and minority voters for years that there's this thing out there that exists called systemic discrimination or systemic racism. So, whenever I was doing Fox or my own show, I'd say, well, okay, the system is racist. That's the derivative word, right? Systemic racism. Who's running the system where the racism is happening? Oh, look, big cities led by Democrats. So yes, systemic racism is real. Liberals are doing it. Correct? Like, where is this happening? It's happening in your cities. Liberals, you're doing it. So it's strange that you've told Black and Hispanic voters for years, the system we have governed under, our system, this liberal system, is racist. Donald Trump then goes and gives a speech and speaks in a way plainly that Donald Trump speaks. Donald Trump's not a racist. He's not even close to racist. We shouldn't even have to say that. It's just liberal bullshit.
This is one of the things people love about Trump, how plainly he speaks.
Yeah, he's candid. He just doesn't talk in focus group tested nonsense and scientific research abstracts. He talks like normal people talk. And he brings up the point, hey, you've been told the system screwed you over? Yeah, it probably has. And you know what? System's screwing me over too. Yeah, conveniently, in some of the same cities, you're getting screwed over. New York City, Fulton County, and a lot of voters are out there going, kind of sounds right to me. And it's chapping their butts that this guy's beating them at their own game. That's the only reason they're doing this. And I'm telling you, nobody cares. Zero people listen to the left with their faux charges of racism. We call it out on our own. We don't need these idiots.
What's interesting to me, though, is that it's just, as you point out, it's not working. And it's not even working with the people they think are their core base. I mean, Black women are overwhelmingly Democrat. They're losing Black men as registered Republicans. But we saw that New York Times Siena poll come out earlier this week that showed the same results from November. Trump's winning in 5 out of the 6 key swing states. All states Joe Biden won in 2020, Trump's up. In some cases by 10 points, by 6 points. I mean, big margins. And so strong, robust State of the Union response, at least that was the narrative in the media about Joe Biden, tens of millions of dollars of ads in all of these swing states, nonstop coverage on MSNBC about what a criminal he is and what a racist he is, and of course what a sexist he is, because the Stormy thing it all ties together, right? Nothing. Hasn't moved the needle at all. He's winning. I realize it's not voting day, but right now he's winning. And to me, it does seem like that had to be Biden's calculation for saying, okay, I'll do it because I'm the one on the debates. I'm the one who needs a game changer in this race.
Yeah, I there's so much there. One of the things I want to say about this is I called this a long time ago, and it was by no means due to my political analytical skills or anything. It was just listening to people. About, 3 years ago, a business partner of mine, he's at a sporting event that we do business with. And he does a lot of business with a lot of Black business leaders, entertainers, sports figures, a lot, not just a little bit. And he calls me after the event. He's like, hey, man, you're never going to believe this, but this really prominent guy who comments on the rap industry told me, you're never going to believe how many of these guys love Trump. He said they call him like Uncle Trump or something like that, and they love this guy. I said, really? He says, Dan, I'm telling you, man, they love this guy. He goes, this isn't the first time I've heard this. Sports everywhere. And I thought there's something going on there. So I put that out on my show, and it was interesting because all of the negative feedback I got were from conservative influencers who were like, oh, man, that's not true. You're overestimating this. And now you're seeing it in the numbers. Now, is Trump going to win 25% of the black vote? No, not even close. He doesn't have to. If he wins 18 or 20%, there's no man.
14, and if he wins 14,
yeah, it's over.
It's watershed.
People have to understand here that this isn't, I know they get it. I shouldn't have said it that way. Me sound like a jerk, but this is not a national election. It is a series of state elections in the Electoral College. And when you look at these states, Pennsylvania has Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. You flip 4 or 5 percentage points of the black vote with a substantially large black population in Philly, in Pittsburgh, in Atlanta, in Detroit. To Democrats listening to your show, you need to understand there's no math whatsoever for you to win a presidential election now or any time in the future. It is the Democrats' biggest nightmare. It's why, to the Democrats out there and the liberals who have been gaslit, it's why everything's racist all the time. And I'll make another case. Listen, I get it. I've been a Trump supporter for a while, and it's not for the reasons people think. I'm a pretty diehard doctrinaire conservative. I get it. Has he been the most conservative guy in the past on some issues? No. I mean, Donald Trump, the one thing I respect about him is, contrary to what people tell you, you do not have to be in line with Donald Trump or he's going to kick you out of his camp. That's bullshit. Whoever's telling you that is lying or doesn't know. Donald Trump and I disagreed publicly on my radio show. You can listen. It's a clip on my channel about abortion. We disagree on it. He has never once been like, Dan, agree with me, or I'm kicking you out of the next event. That's total crap. We've disagreed. So you may say, well, if you disagree on this issue, there's a couple more. I wasn't crazy about criminal justice reform either, but I'm with him on taxes. I'm with him on regulatory reform, judicial appointments, school choice. Yeah, obviously the border, national security. I think he's got the NATO situation right. I think he's got incredible political instincts. I'll say this about the guy. His lasting gift to the Republican Party is going to be none of that stuff. And you're like, what do you mean? I'm telling you, it's going to be none of that stuff. His greatest gift to the party, his greatest gift, those are all good things, the judicial appointments and everything else, is going to be, he opened the eyes of a number of groups of demographic, people out there who had never in their life considered a Republican, who somehow looked at him and said, I don't know, it's my guy. What is it? I don't know. The French have a name for it called the je ne sais quoi. If we knew what it was, we'd bottle it. We don't. Donald Trump has his gift.
As we draw near another critical election, it's not just about casting your vote. It's about elevating your voice. I want to tell you about the Association of Mature American Citizens, or AMAC. It's more than just a senior discount org. They unite like-minded patriots committed to preserving our cherished values and actively opposing the leftist agenda. As AMAC's membership grows, Washington listens. Every new member strengthens this movement. If you love America, check out amac.us/Megyn and consider becoming a 4-year member for just $30. AMAC membership gives you access to the AMAC magazine, free Social Security and Medicare guidance, money-saving discounts, trusted news, sweepstakes, and more. Take advantage of their election year sale, 4 years for just $30 by joining the over 2 million members and get your voice heard. Join now at amac.us/Megyn. That's amac.us/MEGYN. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.